Hey, sports porchers! It's your hockey Jesus, and I'm back. And you can see I'm not in my studios. I told you I was going on a little trip, and I'm getting ready to leave the hotel this morning after watching the Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Montreal Canadiens for the second time this year in Game 13. The Pittsburgh Penguins have improved to 5-8, and finally got a two-game winning streak going, and it looks pretty good. What I really enjoyed about the game last night, Sidney Crosby can still take over a game. It's just so much fun to watch when Sidney gets going, and I just think when he gets going, the whole team gets behind him. There were some things last night we still have to be worried about with your Pittsburgh Penguins, and let me go over the good first. The good was certainly Ned was in goal last night. I think he had a really good game. He saved things when he needed to calm things down. Pittsburgh Penguins get off to a hot start. They score 1-0. They're out shooting at the end of the second period the Montreal Canadiens 21-15, winning 2-0, and that's the way you want to do it. And then in the third period, I told you the Pittsburgh Penguins come out in the third period. You know if it's going to be something to be worried about or something that you can get excited about. I was worried from the very beginning of that third period. They did not look good. They did not get a shot on goal. They actually only had two shots on goal all period. The Capitals came out, got six shots right away, and they scored in the first 10 minutes. Honestly, I thought that they were going to get two in a row because right after the shift they scored, they came right back, and Ned made a really nice save. Those were the types of situations where the Pittsburgh Penguins have given up two goals in the past. So I was thankful for Ned to make that save and to make it, still a one goal lead for the Penguins. And as it turns out, that's all they really needed. Montreal pushed really hard. Gino looked awful at times, especially towards the end of the game, just in his own end, not able to get the puck out of the zone. But I think overall, the shot totals have been down, which has been good for the Penguins. They've given up way too many shots, and definitely too many shots in the slots, as the counselor likes to say. And so I was thankful for that. They did get outshot in this game, 27-24 by the end of it, after leading 21-15 in the shot advantage after the second period. But Montreal knows that they've got to win some of these games. They're behind the Penguins. They've lost to them twice now. But Sid was the key. Sid was absolutely the catalyst of this game. Second period issues taken care of by Ned, and the third period survival. They're not going to be able to do that against really good teams, by the way. So that's why I'm still concerned about this Pittsburgh Penguins team. They still got to tighten it up defensively. I think that Grizzlick looked terrible. They tried Grizzlick on the first power play. Still like the power play. I think the power play one of the best. I think I got notes here. Their power play is it's like 12th best in the league. So they're clipping at a pretty good rate on that power play, over 20%. That's really keeping them in games right now. Their power play, and that's good. Their penalty kill's been phenomenal. The penalty kill has been number 6 at killing penalties at an 86.5% rate. So that's been a catalyst. I still think they need to do a better job of changing. I don't know if it's like they're not going for the shorthanded goal, but they're going into the end and they're spending too much time in there. I think that could bite them moving on. So Pittsburgh Penguins win tonight. Well, actually last night. I'm sorry. It's Sunday morning here, and I hope you got your extra hour of sleep. I feel good. I'm ready to go for the day. Pittsburgh Penguins don't play again until Tuesday. There are a couple things I want to highlight before I leave you tonight. I keep saying tonight, this afternoon, this morning. The Pittsburgh Penguins are going on a road game. They're basically playing 3 games on the road at the New York Islanders, at Carolina, and at the Capitals. This really is a very important stretch for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Being 5-8, if they can win two of these games, I don't think they can win all 3, to be honest with you. If they could win all 3, then they'd be cooking. That'd be a 5-game win streak. They'd be back to 500. They'd be back to where they really need to be. I don't think they're going to win all 3, to be honest with you. I just don't think they're playing good enough right now. The first line's playing real good. I don't like Achari playing with Eller. I don't think Achari belongs up there. I'd rather see Puustinen playing on that line. I don't know why they have Pustin down there on the fourth line with Hayes. He's getting lost in the mix down there, and everybody's saying, "Boy, Chari had a really good game." Well, yeah, because he's playing with two really good players. But I think Pustonen would have a better game. I think he would score more. I think Achari just can't score, and he just belongs down on the fourth line. He can cause havoc down on the fourth line just the same. I think they put him there to kind of razz the other team's first line, and that's a good thing. And last night, by the way, the Penguins, the referees swallowed the whistles last night. There weren't a lot of penalties. There were a lot of penalties that could have been called. I noticed that right away from the very first period, and that's why you get that scrum at the end of the game, because they put their dumb line out there to basically knock people over, and that's what happened. And good for Graves for sticking up for himself and for other teammates, just wailing on that guy. Excellent job. Love to see that. You got to have a little bit of grit. Penguins haven't had too much grit in a long time, but this road trip is really going to be important. At the Islanders, at Carolina, at Caps. I'm not going to make any predictions because honestly, I could see them winning 2 out of 3, and I could see them losing all 3. Let me tell you about the analysis of the Pittsburgh Penguins seasons. I know we're only 13 games in. I'm not panicked. But I've seen this team basically go from a 98-point team to a 52-point team for the season, and that's the difference between a playoff game and a lottery pick, and that's too big of a span for any hockey team to play in. You want to kind of play your game. You want to know where you're going to be, and that's what the Pittsburgh Penguins have to figure out. They're at their peak, they were at a 98-point season, a 98-point team. They seem to be around this 72 to 75-point team, and that's not good enough. They're going to have more of these 2-1, 3-1 wins. Last night it was 3-1 because of the empty net, but they're going to have to eke out some of these until they can figure out their identity and figure out where they're going to get scoring from. The Washington Capitals are the number 1 team in the Metro. And the reason I bring up the Washington Capitals because they're having the opposite season that the Pittsburgh Penguins are. The Washington Capitals are essentially playing at 120 to 130 point season. That's ridiculous. Nobody can play that for a full season. And I was wondering, I did a little bit of research on the Capitals just to see what's going on. First, Spencer Carberry. Great coach. He's got that youth ignited down there. They're scoring a lot of goals, but they're scoring a lot of goals 5-on-5. And they're playing really structured defense. And I think the combination of the coach's enthusiasm, I know he coached last year, but I think this year he's got his team. He was down at that Hershey Bears team. By the way, I'm in Hershey, so I did a little research on Spencer Carberry. He's really loved here. Everybody loved him as a coach, and he brought up all that talent from Hershey up to Washington. Does that sound familiar to you, Pittsburgh Penguins fans? Yeah, it does. So when that happens, all those guys already know him and already know the system he wants to play in. And I think that's why Washington's playing well. They have played not great teams. The teams that they've played against are a winning percentage of just over 500, while the teams that the Pittsburgh Penguins played against were closer to 520. So they've played against a little less talent. They haven't had to go on a West Coast trip yet, so they've played a lot of games at home. I think that's helping the Washington Capitals now. But I think the way they're playing their structured team, and with having a coach like this, I think it can last. But they're going to have to come down from their peaks. Their power play, the Washington Capitals' power play, is pathetic. It's only at a 9% rate. Kind of reminds me of the Penguins last year. And this is a really interesting thing. And this leads me to the final point I want to make tonight before I let you guys go for the day. The Pittsburgh Penguins, their save percentage is .894 as a team, and the Washington Capitals' save percentage is .888 as a team. So actually, the goaltending for Pittsburgh is much better than Washington. Yet Washington's 8-2, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are 5-8. That means that the Pittsburgh Penguins have to remain in the structure. I hope they can stay in it. They've got 2 in a row. They're playing at the New York Islanders Tuesday night. I hope you get out and vote, by the way. I don't care who you vote for. Just get out and vote. It's a good thing for these United States of America. If you're in Canada, I'm sorry you can't vote in our elections, but I'm sure you can always vote in your own elections. So, tonight, the Pittsburgh Penguins, last night, the Pittsburgh Penguins win 2 in a row. They moved to 5-8 on the season. They're starting to come back into the mix. We got a big long road trip coming up. So I will see you Tuesday night as the Pittsburgh Penguins head their way to New York and they play the New York Islanders. Let's go, Pens, and I'll see you Tuesday night.